although this database will end up getting far more complex, and we're going to add some more functionality and features to it in the future, I thought it might be a nice touch now to actually sort of introduce you to the idea of queries and selecting a particular item from a query which matches the content of the form. In other words, what we're going to do here is, let's say Sophie Smith comes in, orders these 5 DVDs, and when she leaves she says, "Can I have a receipt, please?" Now, of course, what we want to do is produce a receipt just for this particular order. So in other words, where the order ID is equal to 1, it will produce a receipt saying she's hired out these 5 films, even though she's taken 2 copies of the same thing. But anyway, I'm sure you get the idea. So how do we do that? Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I have this form open, and it's kind of important that I keep this form open, but I've only got this form open. It's the only thing I've got open in my database. No other forms, no other tables, just this particular form. I'm going to create a query now, and what we're going to do is create a query in design view, and I'm going to ask myself the question, what information really do I think I'm going to need on the receipt? Well, I'm certainly going to need some details of, well, in fact, the easiest thing to do sometimes is this, I find. If we just add every single item in, I'm going to close that down. Let's maximize this up, and let's just move things around a little bit. Gosh, that's going to get a bit complex, isn't it? If we put that, order items, which way we're going to go? I think we'll go this way. There we go. Kind of got everything. Okay, and we can expand these. Right, now, the question is, let's expand that a little bit further down. What information would need to go onto the receipt? Well, I think we would need, I would probably put the customer's details on there, so they're all going to go on there. Would I bother with the telephone? No, I won't bother with the telephone. I'd certainly want the title of the film. I'd certainly want the date. I think that's probably about it, really. Yeah. Except for the key field. And this is the field that I'm going to be searching by. Now, if we go back to the form, we said that we want to produce a receipt for this particular customer, and that receipt is going to be based around the order number. Whatever the order number is, the computer will produce a receipt for it. So, back to the query. The key field, if you like, in here, just expand, move this over a little bit, is going to be the order ID. Now, how do we, if we run this now, we get this whole world of stuff, and there's a lot of duplication going on here. Can you see that? Lots and lots and lots of duplication going on, especially down here. Can you see we've got, oh no, actually no, it's because they took full videos out. Actually, there's not duplication, I'm talking complete nonsense. But one thing is for sure, it's not just one order, is it? I've got order number 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, and 1 again. Obviously order 1 consists of 6 items. So, how do I get the order ID into this query? Well, all I do is this. In build, I'm going to go to, let's go to build, and we're going to say, if I click on forms, I'm going to select loaded forms because I left that form open. And on form order, we have the order ID like that. Okay? So if I press OK now, if you recall, let's just prove this to you. This form is currently open. It's on order number 1. So I run it, and we just get the items that appear in order number 1. In this particular case, they've taken out all of these DVDs. Let's go back into design. Let's tell you what, actually let's go back. Yeah, let's go back into design view, prove it works to you. We are going to navigate to, let's go to record number 3. This is where David Phillips, that's me, takes out the Wizard of Oz and Frankie Boyle live. Go back to the query, run it. David Phillips takes out the Wizard of Oz and Frankie Boyle live. So what we now want to do is to create a receipt. I'm happy with that query, so I'm going to close it. I'm going to yes, and I'm going to call it QRY receipt. Press OK. And now I'm going to make a quick report based on that receipt. So let's do that. Let's go to reports. I'm going to use a wizard to do this. Based on QRY receipt, I think I'm going to add all of those in. I think that would be great. Let's press next. It says, how do you want to group it? Well, I'm thinking that's pretty much how I want to group it. That's going to work quite well. Let's just see what happens anyway. Let's go next. How do you want to view your data? Do you want to add any grouping? I'm going to leave it as that. Let's just see what happens anyway. Next. How do you want to sort it? I'm going to leave it as next. Just go next until I get to the end, which I'm going to call RPT underscore receipt. And let's see what we get. Here it comes. Not particularly well laid out, is it? Well, Mr. Davy Phillips, 32 High, Canterbury, CT1, date, order ID. Well, that's not too difficult. We can actually just simply go in and change these details. For example, if I just grab all of those now, I think Arial 14 is a little bit generous, so let's take that down to a 10. Let's have a look at that. It's looking a little bit more like it. Some might say that in fact, if we were to move this down, I might want to put, well, let's Control Z there. I might want to put address 1 there, address 2 there, and let's move that down. I'll have town down here, and I'll, seems forgotten. For some reason I forgot the county field. Wish someone had pointed out to me. Have that like that. That's not looking too clever, so why don't I make the boxes a little bit wider? I'm not going to spend ages fiddling with this, because I'm sure you guys can work out how this needs to be done. But we're beginning to get something that kind of makes sense. The date field over here, I'm going to expand that. Do we want that one? The order, ID, why not? Let's have that in there as well. And what we're beginning to get is something that kind of makes sense. You might turn around and say you don't want this stuff here, no problem. What I'm going to do is I think what I'll do, let's delete those. Am I beginning to become happy with this report? It's not particularly well laid out. I've got a blank there, but certainly I can keep fiddling around and lay things out better than they actually are. But I'm not going to bother really, because quite frankly there's no doubt that Mr. David Phillips on the 19th of 2nd, order number 3, took out Frankie Bowl live from the Wizard of Oz. You might argue I should have put the DVD IDs in there as well into my query. Perhaps I should have done that, to be honest with you, but never mind. You might argue you don't want the date there, you want the date up somewhere else. Well, no problem. Let's Control X and let's Control V. Let's put it up in the page header. There we go, 19th of 2nd. Maybe I don't want that one there. The order ID, let's take that out. Control X, we'll stick that up in there. Control V, and so let's grab that and move that over. And I'm going to move that over here. Look, I'm not claiming I'm going to be spending ages and ages making this look fantastic, but for this moment in time, what we can clearly see is that we have a way of creating a receipt depending on which order you are in the data in the form. And to prove a point to you, let's just close this down and press yes. Let's go back to the form, and we can add on another little button here, and I'm going to go to report operations. I'm going to select preview rather than print so we can see it on the screen, and we'll press next, and it says which report receipt. I'll press finish. Obviously I could have gone to the design and made it look pretty of the button. My fault. Let's do that again. It was a little bit silly on my part. I shouldn't have pressed finish. Let's go to report operation, preview report, next, and I'm going to put create receipt, I think, here. Okay, next. And not too meaningful now, I'm not too bothered, so I'm not going to be using it for anything else. And now if we come into here, to prove a point to you, we've done 1, 2, 3. Sophie Smith, create receipt. There it is. Zoom in. There's Sophie receipts. So Sophie Smith's magic rounded up and super bad. That could have been printed out. Let's prove that one more time to you. Let's go to now. This is David Phillips again. That was me. Another Sophie Smith. That's because I've only used 2. I keep forgetting. Okay, David Phillips. Anyway, look. Order number 5. David Phillips magic roundabout on the 23rd of the 2nd. Create receipt. Look what we got. 23rd of the 2nd. Order number 5. David Phillips took out the magic roundabout. Obviously, not a pretty report. I could have spent ages typing that up, but I don't want to because, well, you know how to do it. So go away and do it. Bye.